Hello and welcome to Darius Comic School, and today I will do an episode on how I come up with story ideas. And let me zoom out. I wanted to say, I will show you my process, and I will show you in the first part my process on how I got the idea for Operation Übermensch or Übermensch. In German, it's called Operation Übermensch, but this should be like somehow some pulpy exploitation comic, as you can see. But I have a deep story, and I will show you around in a second. So if you want to stay for a ride, I will go over some basic story, some basic plot points, some stuff I came up with in half an hour. But it's not just half an hour that it took me. I guess you soak up all your life stuff through movies, media, and then you have your own ideas, and then you're ready to do it yourself. Doesn't mean that it's going to be really, really good, but it's something, and you gotta cut your teeth, so to speak, and that's what we're gonna do. I have here another story which is Agent Flower. I will go into a later part in these and just say what my ideas were on these ones. And so let me jump right into the video on how I get my story ideas, or how I create my story ideas. So let me put this here and let's see. So let's zoom out a bit. So yesterday I pumped out the story idea, which is called Operation Übermensch. I forgot to put in, I was so concentrated on making this A look right that I forgot the R. And so this is 1944. Germany's losing on all ground in a desperate, diabolic plan to create a race of superhumans. And then, like, this is the comic. And as you can see, nothing new, pretty much everything you've seen before. But man, I miss those movies. I miss those comics. And I will go in a second into this. So the past 20 years, we had superhero movies, and it was okay. Like, I liked it. I saw the potential already when I was reading comics, The Age of Apocalypse, and it was really clear that if you had a TV show, or if you had movies, you could do great stuff, and it happened. So can I predict the future? Probably yes, but it's not so complicated to see. But now I'm moving in a different direction now, because like I'm born in 1985, so I'm kind of a 90s kid, and now I have a certain age where I can bring back the things that I cherished, and also the things that I'm naturally inclined to like. So in school I was good in history. Like, I was very interested in World War II and in history in general. I was good at drawing and making art, and I was also very good. Wait a second. And I was also very good at what else? Just creating things in general. But I don't know if school suited me the way it should have, and the world, but that's a story for another day. And so I grew up with Gladiator, The Rock, Warcraft, Starcraft, Babylon 5, and all those things. And I like also like the writers and the movies that have some piece of history, but I don't like it when it's too pretentious. I like also like my Metal Gear Solids, my wrestlers and gladiator movies, and my rollerballs and Battle Royale and all of that good stuff, and my Quentin Tarantino movies and Robert Rodriguez. And I like 80s and 90s sci-fi with dark leather, culminating then in The Matrix. But in the 80s, like they knew how to do it with hot babes, and back then hot chicks looked kind of natural, not as fake as today, but yeah, and no CGIs. Like they took like real puppets, like, or they had like real makeup, and you can feel those things. And lately, myself included, but also a lot of other YouTubers that do some comic reviews or study comics or are in love with comics, we're taking a look at the comics from the 90s and 80s, and they do hold up well, because there was not every comic, but most, because they have a certain integrity. So let me not bore you another second. Let's jump into the story. So, how did I get here? Like, this is like a mock-up of a comic I would love to create. And again, the castle I stole from a Mike Mignola drawing. This here from Ralph Niese. Check out up here Ralph Niese's art. This girl too. Ralph Niese had some girl, like werewolf woman of the SS, something like that. This is a soldier with an MP40, and then some, I don't know, like this one looks like Reinhardt in Blade 2, and then this is our hero. I don't know, he looks like a cat or a lion man, probably a bit like Ron Perlman in The Beauty and the Beast, which I've never seen. But yeah, this is what I got, and I'm kind of happy with it. But what is it? I don't know the story to this, but I sit myself down today and I drew up, like, as you can see, 4 pages of this, like, and I will show you in a second what the stages of my inspiration will tell me, and I will show you everything in detail. So bear with me a second. Like, this is kind of like the story, how it might go. Nothing too special, crude stuff just to put it out. So in the first phase, it was like October here in Germany. It was getting very colder, and I was more indoors and stuff like that, and hanging out at the gym. And I had also 1 week I was sick, and yeah, the mood changed from rock and roll vampire hunters in the summer to something else. And I was going back to my local tabletop store, and they were playing Warhammer Underworlds and some other systems and Age of Sigmar, and I saw Bolt Action, and I thought to myself, man, I want to get into Bolt Action for a very long time. Maybe now it's the time. So I visited, and I fell in love, and I decided, man, okay, let's not wait another 2 years. Let's just go into Bolt Action. So I knew I wanted to buy an army. I didn't know which one. And looking around, I kind of settled for a German army. I kind of liked the look of it, the feel of it, the tanks. This one is a Stuck 3, and I kind of liked it. And so I kind of was going more, like, somehow my attention went into the World War II thing, but also something in me, and I call this first step intuition, number 1, and then we'll come to intuition number 3, and the second phase in between is like, here you got your ingredients, here it's kind of cooking, and here you get the pizza out of the oven ready to eat. And this is kind of my process. And then I was kind of like, yeah, as you can see, tabletop, I was drawn towards World War II stuff, and I thought to myself, okay, let's look into that. And somewhere I saw Where Eagles Dare to Fly, a review from the Critical Drinker, and he said, man, they don't make movies like this anymore with Clint Eastwood, and they have to storm a castle up in the hill, and you can only reach it at a certain point, like a castle like this. And British intelligence has to infiltrate it, and they gotta fight Nazis, and then they have to escape. But they're how do you say it, backstabbed 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and spies and plot twists and action and gunfighting, and I was okay. I gotta see this movie, but I didn't see it up until now. I maybe watch it today or tomorrow, and then it was not available in the English language, so it was only available in German on YouTube and Amazon. And I said, screw that, I just want to watch it in original language. So I settled for das Boot. And this is a story about a naval officer and his crew on a U-boat, on a submarine, leaving Germany or France to fight the Allied forces. But Germany in World War II is already in decline. And so what was once a proud army or marine is now drunk, cynical. They're kind of with their backs against the wall, and even the commander, played by, who plays that guy? I noticed that guy. He plays also in Air Force One. But yeah, so the new soldiers are almost all teenagers, like they're barely 18, 20. So Germany is kind of getting desperate, and this boat, I watched it. It's kind of old. I don't know. It's from the 80s or 70s. But man, like, okay, I can't snap my fingers. But it was so good. Like, I was into it instantly, and I watched it from beginning to end, at least the first episode. And I thought to myself, oh my God, why did I watch it? Why did I wait so long to watch it? It's so good. And then somehow I was researching for how to paint this thing, and then someone told me, "Oh, you bought the starter and the Stug 3. It's a crappy tank. Nobody uses it because it has no turret." And I was kind of disappointed because, like, I think it's a cool tank, and so I researched it, and it was one of the most built tanks because it was cheap, it was easy to manufacture, and it was not a tank per se. It was a mobile artillery, and it was really good. Like, the German used it to its full extent, and this thing shined. And once I knew that in historical context this thing could do damage, I knew it could also do damage on a tabletop, and so I fielded it. The enemy kind of didn't laugh in my face, but he did not have respect for it, and I killed his German, and it went up in flames, and the Germans won because they were underestimated. And so I was kind of in the historical context, and then YouTube suggested to me Steiner, the Iron Cross, and I didn't know what it really was. I thought, well, let's check out this movie, and it's a really cool movie, anti-war movie about a German officer at the Eastern Front in Russia in World War II. And so at the beginning, they kind of kill enemy soldiers, and then they find out that they are kids, Russian kids, and nobody's happy. But Steiner says something like, "Okay, nothing new to see here. We have to go." And so we're already in this grim scenery, and a lot of other good stuff happens. And so I was kind of researching, drawing, painting, watching occasionally a movie, and I'm very interested also in history. And so I dove deep into Prussia, because how could a nation, or how could the Germans get to that point? And then I took a history lesson in Prussia and how it came to be. And I think it was like there were the Deutsch Ritter, a German knight, and they came from Germany and they fought in Jerusalem. And so the Holy Emperor gave them some land upward here in Prussia, because only heathens were living there. And the Teutonian Knight was done. Don't quote me on this. Just riffing on this. But they took the land, and then they built on it, and they waged war, and they gained sympathy, and they also gained land. But they're kind of like assholes. Like they are taking over land that isn't theirs. They're kind of colonizing that. And from that, over the hundreds of years, something like Prussia is born, and then they lose a war, and then they kind of, I think they lose against Napoleon, and then they start to create a school system, which means that everything is standardized and people shouldn't think for themselves. They just should follow orders. That's our worldwide school system right now. And yeah, I was kind of in that. And then phase one was over. And then I was in phase two, where I was watching World War II stuff, building miniatures, and also doing other stuff like earning money, doing art, YouTube videos, going out, seeing people, going to the gym. And then one day I came and YouTube suggested to me Conflict 47. And that was cool because this is from Wallet Games, a different game which uses similar models like this, or the same models, but adds to it. And it adds to it that Germany has not lost, this is a different timeline, Germany has not lost the war, because they something happened in the world, and now technology and something like that is available. So Germany starts to create Schreckwolven, which is like werewolf people, and they use their own dead corpses to create a totem corpse. And yeah, so Americans, every Axis and Allied faction starts to spice up, and science fiction, uses kind of science fiction. Tesla, the Americans use Tesla coils, and I'm very much into that. I love like Red Alert 2, and so I was hooked that you had the World War II scenario, but now with science fiction elements. Perfect. I love that. And then we come to phase 3 of the inspiration, where I then was thinking about like Universal Soldier, a movie where a couple of soldiers die, but then a secret American agency kind of brings them back to life and uses them as mercenaries in conflicts until something goes wrong. Then werewolf women of the SS and the Iron Cross. And I was thinking a lot about war, the individual, and how millions and thousands of people are thrown to die. Pretty much the whole history up until this point, just like as cannon fodder. So the individual always gets kind of dehumanized, and it's just a number, it's just a man, probably, like, and they die a lot. And then I was thinking about where could my story begin? And I think always like in somehow 4-issue comics, like 24 pages each, let's say roughly around 100 pages, maybe like a movie, 100 minutes. That's what I think. And then maybe number 1, we have like, maybe there was a brave soldier, and maybe not even a fanatical soldier, just one who was sent to the front, who was really good, an officer, and his name was maybe Fritz, and maybe he fell, or he was gravely wounded, and then maybe he was picked up by this like kind of Weapon X thing, and they picked him up and they transformed him into something different, in which they just needed. Like they don't care about the human body or the human soul. They just want to do stuff. And so we get introduced to like this guy. I don't know who he or she is yet, or it, but he kind of transforms him into this thing, and he says, Fritz, the Reich needs you. And he introduces him to a commando team of enhanced humans or changed humans, and we got a werewolf. We got a chick. We don't know what her powers are, but a bit like Lady Deathstrike. I don't know if she can morph claws, or I don't know, but she's pretty vicious. And Then there's another guy, and his name is maybe Hammer or something like this guy. And then we have another thing inspired by Conflict 49, maybe something like something alien-like, vampiric, something that can fly, but very, very strange thing. And yeah, they kind of maybe they hold the team together. Maybe she seduces him, or she says, "You like this, don't you?" Like, I don't know. They are kind of animals or creatures tamed by drugs, beauty, propaganda. I don't know yet, but that's the gist of it. And then they use him and his team to kill enemy units and kind of trying to win the war or turn the war around. But then he remembers, and yeah, before he remembers, this is like maybe like the team, like one is maybe called Nachtfalter or Nightwing, something like that. She's maybe called Lorelei, something very innocent. Then we have the wolf, then we have him. And yeah, I don't know if I'm happy with this design, but that's what I got. And here, like Island of Dr. Moreau, and he says, silent, still, silent, still. Do you hear that? And yeah, I don't know. They go on missions, like maybe issue 1, we get introduced to the situation. Then they go on a mission. Then something at the end of the mission happens. Then we got issue 2, and so forth. And maybe in issue 2 or 3, maybe they find out. Maybe the Russians or the enemy is doing something similar, and they find other people or prisoners of war, and they get transformed, like stuff like that. I don't know. That's what I came up with. Not very super original, but why not? Who says this can't be a really, really cool comic? And then at a certain point, maybe he goes to sleep, and maybe he remembers his former self, and maybe he remembers his Josephine and Fritz, and he kind of remembers that he was a human, and will be seen what kind of human he was, but maybe he was a bad one, maybe he was a good man, but what he is now is not anymore human, or maybe he's like treated like an animal. There's like this human animal used as a toy. Other comics and movies have explored that already, but why not? Like, why not get a comic, have a great time, enjoy the art? I'm thinking about drawing jeeps and tanks and cool guns, and it's not just for, okay, let's kill a bunch of people. It would have also a bit of heart and a bit of thought and all of that stuff. And I don't say that it will be like a masterpiece, but yeah, and then maybe in the end he would maybe turn against his master, this guy here, and he says, the Führer has failed us. We are the Reich's last hope. And so maybe this organization wants to turn against its own masters, and they're creating their own army, a bit like Hydra in Captain America, the movie. But yeah, and then he has to choose, like, if this goes all down, he knows that Germany will lose the war, and all his loved ones he maybe remembers, he knows, well, it's hard, like, we will see through perspective, like, he fought the war, maybe he wasn't so into it, but still he's a soldier, he just does his orders, or maybe not, maybe he's also an evil guy, but this is kind of like his purgatory, his hell, and then we will see if he chooses or how he chooses, and then he fights this guy, and we will see who he is, the kind of the face reveal, and yeah, final combat, issue 4, and then I think everything will go up in flames, and then it's either the end of this comic or the end of the first arc of this comic, and there could be another one, or it could end there. So this here ends my inspiration and process for Operation Übermensch. If you want to support me on Patreon to do these comics or just support the channel, maybe think about supporting me with $1 or $2 monthly. You will get the comics when they're done. But let me show you, like, when I was thinking about Jesus Returns, I don't know, the story is not yet fleshed out, but it's like humanity is kind of in shackles. Everything is cyber. It's the late 80s, early 90s or something in the future, and life has gotten very sterile, and Jesus returns, this guy, kind of Billy Idol, to bring back flesh for fantasy. And again, action adventure, fighting tyranny, fighting oppression, slavery. And I have to say, although we kind of live in strange times have been stranger, because like people really have murdered themselves in wars, in big wars, at least for the past 2000 years and maybe even longer. So we probably live in kind of good times, even though people are depressed and everybody's divorced, and we have our own challenges. But it's not like an invading country is here to wipe you out and make you a slave. At least not very overtly. Then we got Rock and Roll Vampire Hunters. If you want to see Rock and Roll Vampires, go to this video to see my development of Rock and Roll Vampire Hunters. Then we got Restless 3000. The idea was that in the year 3000, the world got destroyed by whatever, and there is a new emperor, and he's ruling the people with technology and another thing. Who knows, like just normal stuff, like a small evil elite dominating the people and feeding them games, like in the Roman Empire, and one man who could not kneel will then challenge the thing. It's, I mean, you have seen it 1,000 times, but this would be in my kind of style. I would do it the right way, trust me. And here, Agent Flower, this was a thing I developed a long time. I was watching a movie, Man Who Stared at Goats, and then I was going all into this American Psy Corp. They had all these Jedi warriors who they wanted to build, and then I got the idea from Metal Gear, because like Metal Gear also is an enhanced soldier. But I was thinking, what if the real world, what if the wars between nations, and that is not real, what it is? What if it is between some dark and light, not angels and demons, but something similar, and they kind of rule our nations from behind, and we would have warriors and agents who can walk through walls, or who can meditate, who do not have to kill, but can fight mentally, physically, and in no tricks. And so Agent Flower was kind of like, what if you had a trained special operations guy in 1985, but this guy knows. This was also kind of inspired by The Postman, and in The Postman, they have the novel. They have physically engineered or enhanced soldiers, but the first enhanced soldiers that they made, they were kind of like rotten on the inside. There were soldiers first and citizens second, and this guy is a citizen first and then a soldier second. And so Everything he does for the for the country or for the world or for the people, and he sees things differently. Like, he's not just a hired killer or a hired gun. He kind of believes in the universe, in spiritual stuff, but still here he is. He must fight a war and he must protect Earth from higher powers that in the background seem political, but in reality are cosmic or maybe evil or beyond our imagination. This is like, what if Metal Gear Solid would meet Stranger Things, Star Wars, something like this. And yeah, so now you know kind of my process. My process doesn't have to be yours. It's the way I do it. I think I'm like a sponge. I soak everything up, and then, as you can see, I release it back into my comics. And now you can say, oh, Metal Gear Solid was an original. I'm pretty sure Hideo Kojima was looking at The Rock, and he was looking at many other things, and he was inspired by a lot of stuff. And then he was also a sponge, and he created his own thing with his own, not ideology, but ideas. And I'm sure Ridley Scott, when he created Gladiator, or every movie, everything that was created, every creator like you and me went through the process of being a sponge, soaking up everything you like, and then putting it back in the thing you're creating. And once you create a thing, like also Mike Mignola took everything he loved, and we see Hellboy as its own thing, and it is, but also like Mike Mignola took from a lot of stuff, a lot of inspiration, and took all that and put it in his own stuff. And maybe so should I, and so should you. So put your ideas on paper. Let's start drawing. Let's start making comics. I don't think comics is dead. Maybe comics as it is dead, but stories are not over. Artwork is not finished. Printing comics, I think, is maybe not so complicated. I'm thinking. I mean, I already printed comics and I'm shipping them, but right now in my mind, it's like, can I make something and just put it on print on demand in every country? And so wherever you're watching, you say, oh man, I want this comic. I go get it. You go to whatever it is, you click buy, I get some of the money, the delivery service or creating service gets some of the money, and you get a beautiful comic right to your home. You sit down, you enjoy the sun, and you read a beautiful comic, and you're inspired to live a better life. So we see us in the next episode. Tell me what you think about this, and we see us.